Hey guys, this is Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today we're going to take a look at the NBA game-by-game breakdown for Wednesday, February 16th, 2022 using our NBA cheat sheet. As always, subscribe to our channel down below as this is one of the first places that we do provide content. And if you'd like to try our NBA cheat sheets, we post them in our Facebook group. The link is in the description on Thursdays. So let's go ahead and get started. So when we open up the cheat sheet, you can see we've got all the tabs here for sports betting, player props, and daily fantasy information. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to use the bet tab. So click inside this bottom team, which is always the home team, and you're going to get this little nugget drop down, and it will let you scroll through the games. So we're going to start at the top of this 11-game slate, and we're going to move through the games pretty quick so this video does not drag on. The first game, so my number one best, not number one is in favor, but one of the best bets that I like today is Orlando -6. You can see here our model has a difference of 10. We have Atlanta easily covering the spread here by 10 points. And as always in all my videos, if you don't want to do any research or dig into the games, just look right here, and it's going to tell you what our model is versus the Vegas spread. The bottom is going to be the total, the top is going to be the side. So on the bottom, if it says lean under or under, I stay away from it unless you want to dig in. I try not to bet unders, but if it says over, that is a game that I want to dig into. On the top, it's going to be our side. I'm looking for a difference of 7, 8, 9, or more points. If it's less than that, if it's 4, 5, or 6, just look at it and bet it with your own discretion. So you can see here we have a difference of 4. That means Vegas has Atlanta -6. We've got them by 10. So we have them covering the Vegas spread by 4 points, but we have them winning the game by 10 points. This is a game that I like because when I looked into it, they're playing decent. They hung with Boston for a little bit, ended up losing by 10 on the road. Boston's playing really good right now. And then they came back and they beat Cleveland by 8. So they've been up and down, you can see, over the last 10 games, but Orlando has been absolutely brutal. So over the last 6 games, they've lost 5 of them by double digits. So Atlanta laying 6, yeah, I definitely think they can do that. So Atlanta -6 is one of our plays for the day. San Antonio at Oklahoma City, we have a difference of 2. That's not enough for a play. San Antonio is -6.5 per Vegas. Our model has San Antonio by 8. So one of the ones that is interesting that I have not looked into yet is the over. Here you can see we lean over by 5. So Vegas opened this at 218.5 and we've got 223.5. So the last 3 games, San Antonio's played 229, 238, 257, and then OKC's coming off of a 250-point game. So I would lean the over here, as that's what the model is spitting out. Toronto, Minnesota, I'm going to skip over this game. It's only a difference of 3. Minnesota has been favored by 1. We've got Minnesota winning by 4, but there's 2 key players that are questionable for this game. Van Vliet missed shoot-around, and Anthony Edwards is questionable. So both teams, you can see, they've been doing really well, except for this last game where Toronto got beat by 30 to the Pelicans. I have no idea what happened in that one. But anyways, we're going to move on, and we want to see what the starting lineups are. Portland at Memphis. When this game first launched, I wanted to take Memphis first half when I saw the spread was going to be over 10, but you can see here we're leaning Portland by 5. Now this number is not 7, 8, or 9, so it's not a play that screams at me on the cheat sheet. You can see our model here. We've got Memphis by 7, but Vegas has them laying 12. So this is a game you would want to take a look at if you do like the Memphis side. So what scares me on this game is Portland, they've put together 3 straight wins against the Lakers, the Knicks, and Milwaukee by 2, 9, and 15 points. So they've got some confidence. Now you can see Memphis, they're 9-1 over the last 10 games, and they have several double-digit wins, which the green are double-digit wins. The red here are double-digit losses. So Memphis is playing really good right now, and they could easily cover this spread, but I could also see Portland sneaking inside of 12 points as they've got confidence off 3 wins. So this is a game that I am just going to stay away from for now. Utah is laying 5.5 at the Lakers. Our model has a ridiculous Utah -25, so this screams difference. So it's well over 10 points. It's, 19.5, 18.5, somewhere around there. So our second favorite play that we have is going to be Utah -5.5 at the Lakers. Utah is on fire right now. They've won 6 games in a row. 4 of the last 5 they've won by double digits, and they've been crushing teams. So Houston, Orlando, they're hardly decent opponents, but then Golden State, the Knicks, well, Brooklyn's not that good either, and Denver, they've got some decent wins in there. The Lakers have been brutal. They've lost 3 straight. They lost to Portland, which is a horrible team, by 2. They lost to Golden State by 2. They lost to Milwaukee by 15. Managed to beat the Knicks. Lost to the Clippers, who were not playing well. Barely beat Portland, and then they had 3 losses against 3 good teams. So they are 3-7 over the last 10 games, and they're being outscored. So Utah minus 5.5, as long as Donovan Mitchell is playing, is going to be a second play that we have today. This one is very interesting. Sacramento at Chicago. They've got 6. We have them winning by 8. Only a difference of 2, so it doesn't jump for a play. But I'm really curious to see what happens here because Sacramento was a horrible rebounding team. In Minnesota, this was one of our best bets. Went in and beat them by 20. And then Sabonis got traded. And then they flipped the switch. And they turned around and beat Minnesota by 13. Then they thumped on Washington by 13, and so we were riding high. And then they went to Brooklyn and got killed by 24. So they're up and down. I still think they're trying to feel their way around. Chicago's been on absolute fire. They've won 4 games straight, 3 of the last 4 by double digits, including wins against Minnesota and Charlotte and the Spurs. So here I would lean Chicago, but they're laying 6. Our model has them winning by 8. That's not enough for me to have a big edge of a play. Brooklyn at New York. So this is one of the dogs that I like. So Brooklyn, New York, 4.5. We've got Brooklyn minus 7. So our model is spitting out the complete opposite. This is a difference of 12. So what I like here is taking the Brooklyn money line plus 155. The reason is we don't have to win that bet a large percentage of the time to be profitable when we're getting 1.5 to 1 odds. Now, Brooklyn, you can see here, they've been horrible. But what really turned around after this game really impressed me. They played Miami, and Miami's a really good team, and they were on the road, and they hung within 4 of them and had a shot to win that game. So this, in my last video, I had said, be careful with Brooklyn because they could be on the upswing. And then I had Sacramento, which ended up losing. And then they came out and they beat Sacramento by 24, 109 to 85. So the new look Sacramento Kings, I think, are pretty equivalent to what the New York Knicks look like right now. And I mean, look at New York. They've lost 8 of the last 10. They have 4 double-digit losses. They've lost 2 straight to Oklahoma and Portland, who's not good. So you're telling me that Brooklyn could not win this game? But I will take the plus 155 on it, and I'll take Brooklyn on the money line. Going over Detroit at Boston, this is another one of the plays that we do like. So you can see here, Boston's minus 12.5 per Vegas. We've got Boston winning comfortably by 33 points. This is a difference of 21. This is rare that we see a game with this far of a difference. So my favorite play here is going to be Boston, first half minus 7.5. That's what I locked it in at this morning. They should easily be up by 8 points at halftime. If not, you can come back with a second half hammer and take this one to the bank. And what I like here, these teams are completely opposite. Look at this. So over the last 8 games, Detroit is 0-8, and look at these double-digit losses, 2, 4, 6. They have 6 games by double-digit losses in the last 8. They even got beat by a terrible Washington team by 9 points, and they only scored 94 points in that game. That's pitiful. These are good teams. I'll give them credit there, but they lost by 22, 25, and 30, and then 13 to Minnesota. And actually, look here, they just played on the 4th of February. They played Boston and lost by 9, 93 to 102. So they are not doing really well. Boston's red hot. They've won 9 straight, and 6 of those 9 games have been by double digits, including a 48-point win against Philadelphia, a 10-point win against Atlanta, and then they killed these 2 bad teams, and they had a 30-point win against Miami, which was pretty impressive. And I think over here on our DVP tab, I'll mess with that later. But there was something that jumped out on me that I was looking at, but I'll use that in the player prop video. So Boston minus 12.5 for the game or minus 7.5 first line, I really like as one of our favorite plays. I'm going to go Boston minus 7.5, and then that gives me some wiggle room for the second half if it does not cover. The other play we like is Phoenix minus 15.5. I typically do not take games with this large of a spread, but you can see here, we have a difference of 19 points. So to get 2 of these in the same slate is kind of odd, the cheat sheet to have almost 20-point differences than the Vegas spread. So we've got Phoenix winning by 34 with a 131 to 97 win. Now, I want to look at that because that's a pretty extreme number, but I kind of agree with it. Looking at these last 10 games, Houston is 1-9 and look at how many double-digit losses they have. So they've lost by 34, 19, 13, 13, 25, 14, 15, and 30. So they have been getting absolutely crushed. And then you come over here to Phoenix. They're 9-1 over the last 10. They went on the road when Atlanta was playing really hot, and they lost to them by 9. But then they came back and managed to win 6 straight, 3 of those 6 by double digits, and 2 of the last 3 by double digits. So they could easily cover the 15.5, but that is a lot of points. So the play I'm going to go with here is Phoenix -9 first half. And I think that should be a no-brainer play because Houston is absolutely god-awful. Moving on, we have 2 games left to cover. Washington at Indiana. Here we have Washington -5. It's a difference of 6, so it's right on that edge of if we want to make a play or not. But looking at Washington, they're 3-7 in the last 10, and they have 6 double-digit losses. And then you've got Indy, who's 2-8 the last 10 with 3 double-digit losses. So both teams are upside down against the spread over here. Washington is 22-33. Indy is 27-30, so I don't have confidence either way, regardless of what the model spits out. I don't want anything to do with these teams. However, I will point out, if you are going to play on Indy, they are much better at home than on the road, and then Washington is much worse on the road, so that would go against the model, and I would lean Indy in this spot. But again, not enough of an edge for me to have any faith in it. And then we've got our second dog play of this slate that we're going to go with. So I am going to take Denver on the money line. It's between +175 and +180 tonight at Golden State. If you want to play a more conservative route, you can take Denver plus the 5.5 points, but I like to take these money lines and risk less money to get a bigger payout, put it together. You can see here, so Denver's plus 5.5. We've got Denver -3. As long as Joker's playing, I'm all over that one. So Denver, they're actually playing really good right now. They've won 4 of the last 5 games. They lost to a red-hot Boston team on the road, but it was only by 6 points. 108-102 is really good because Boston is killing people right now. They beat Orlando by 10, and then they went on the road to Toronto, who was playing really well, and they were not supposed to win that game, and they squeaked out a win there, 110-109, and I think shocked a lot of people. Prior to that, they beat the Knicks by 17 and Brooklyn by 20. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. Now, the reason I'm going with the money line here is Golden State's lost 3 of the last 4. They lost by 15 to the Clippers, 2 points to the Knicks, and 26 to Utah. They barely beat a bad Lakers team by 2 points, so they're struggling a little bit. They were red hot here, but I mean, Brooklyn wasn't good, and they only beat them by 4. Houston's terrible, beat them by 14. Spurs are up and down, beat them by 4. And then Sacramento, OKC, beat them by 12. So to me, these are not impressive wins. Like Houston by 14, Everybody else was beating them by 25 and 30. The Spurs by 4, not so impressive. Everybody was killing Brooklyn. They squeaked by 4. And then they've lost 3 of the last 4, only beating the Lakers by 2. So I don't have a lot of faith in Golden State minus the 5.5, so I'm going to take Denver on the money line here and go for that plus 180 payday. So that's going to be our second dog play of the day. And then that is the last of our 11-game slate. So just to recap, we like Atlanta -6. We like Utah -4.5. We like Brooklyn money line plus 155. Denver money line plus 180. Boston first half -7.5. And Phoenix first half -9. Good luck.